Vincent, welcome to Open Line Monday.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. Hey, I was born and raised Catholic, but then I fell in love with a Pentecostal, and now I'm a practicing Pentecostal. My question is, growing in the Catholic Church, you have statues everywhere, yet in one of the Ten Commandments, it specifically states, thou should have no graven images. And I'm assuming that's of Jesus or, any religious character. So why is it that there's great images in the Catholic Church?
Okay. Were there graven images in the Old Testament Solomon's temple? Do you know?
Sorry, no, I'm not a scholar.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you go to, I guess it's First Kings. Well, I tell you what, we got a hard break coming up here. We had a question about graven images and in the Catholic Church and how the commandments say thou shalt not have any graven images. But first I want to correct you, Vincent. It says thou shalt not bow down and worship any graven images. It does not say no graven images. It says you should not worship them, in essence, as if they were gods, because, the commandment says, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt not have any false gods before me. And so obviously if you're worshiping statues and such, you have false gods before him. So it's not no graven images, it's do not worship any graven images. And I say that because the question I asked you, the Temple of Solomon, which was God directly gave Solomon the instructions on what to have in the temple. And what did he include in there? A number of graven images of things under the earth and under the heavens, animals, the sea, trees, all sorts of graven images. In the desert, when God sent serpents, and serpents bit during the Exodus, the 40 years in the desert, and the serpents bit a number of people. Vincent, do you know what God prescribed for them to do to be healed from those serpent bites?
I do not.
God said, make an image of a serpent and let that image, look upon the image and you will be healed. And then, so it was obviously okay. But a few hundred years later, what happened? The Israelites fell away and they started worshiping that graven image of the snake as a god. And that's when the king at the time had it destroyed. Because it was okay as a graven image, it was not okay as a graven image that was being worshipped. Also, what's on top of the Ark of the Covenant? 2 images of angels, graven images of angels on the holiest relic in Israel, the Ark of the Covenant, which contained the 10 Commandments, some of the manna from heaven, and the staff of Aaron. So God did not say, do not make graven images or do not have them in your worship space, because God commanded them to be in the Israelites' worship space, the Temple of Solomon. He said, do not bow down and worship them, which is something that Catholics do not do. If you ever see or hear somebody who claims to be Catholic saying, oh yeah, I worship that statue of Mary, or I worship that statue of Jesus, or that statue of St. Francis, they're doing something contrary to the Catholic faith, and they aren't really Catholic. Does that answer your question?
For 26 years, and I've never done that.
Yeah.
Yes, that answers my question.
Very good. Well, okay,
so yeah, it was just a misconception of what I thought.
That's it. And see, that's most people, Archbishop Fulton Sheen once said, there are not 100 people in the United States who hate the Catholic Church, but there are millions who hate what they mistakenly believe the Catholic Church to be. So there's a lot of misinformation, misperception out there about what Catholics believe and teach and practice, and that is one of them. So I'm glad you called to have that cleared up, Vincent. Call back anytime.